So one of the truths of dynasties is that part of a dynasty is dominating those that are inept around you, giving you home field advantage and easy wins. And so Travis Kelce was talking about the Super Bowl, and they got for the second time they got absolutely blown out. And it happens. You can dominate your conference or your division, but when you go face the best team from the other division, you better be tight. And twice they've had injuries on the offensive line. So here is Travis Kelce just moving off that awful Super Bowl loss.
I've thrown that thing in the trash. I moved on. I don't know. I thought they would have it sooner than you can imagine. I was pretty focused on this year in the offseason.
So I do not think I think Kansas City, the dynasty part is over. They may win a Super Bowl, but I think their division's too good to be a dynasty. And I'll give you an example. When Nick Saban was at Alabama, LSU couldn't get the right coach. Auburn couldn't get the right coach. Ole Miss couldn't get the right coach for most of it. Tennessee couldn't get the right coach. And he dominated. But then Georgia got Kirby Smart. And then Texas came in with Sark. And Nick Saban didn't look as dominating. Same thing happened to Urban at Florida when Nick Saban came in. Yeah, Urban Meyer was dominating. And then Nick Saban went to a great program, and then Urban wasn't dominating. And if you look at LeBron's dominance for 8, 9, 10 years in the Eastern Conference, he had to beat the Raptors and the Pacers. He would go into the other conference, he didn't have the same luck when you're facing the Warriors, right? Same with Tom Brady. Brady's great. But one of the things that was never spoken about, the Colts used to be in the Patriots division, then they left. And, he got home field advantage almost every year. Anytime he had to go to Denver, he would lose. He would struggle in Denver. Brady, the greatest ever. Denver. It wasn't the same. But because the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bills for most of his stay were inept, Brady would he'd go 5-1 in division or 6-0. And so Brady gets home field in cold weather, huge advantage with the best defensive coach of all time. All he had to do is win a couple of playoff games because they get a bye. Okay, so you tell me, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with an extra week to prepare at home in Foxborough in their prime. Yeah, it's an advantage. They lost to the Giants twice in Super Bowl. They lost to Philadelphia in a Super Bowl. They weren't nearly as invincible on the other side. But part of what they did is they took advantage of the ineptitude of their division to get home field advantage. And Kansas City deserves all the credit in the world. They've taken advantage of Justin Herbert with bad coaches. They've taken advantage of Denver in a rebuild and the Raiders in a perpetual rebuild. They deserve credit for all of it. But there's never been a division with 4 head coaches that have been to a Super Bowl. I mean, the Raiders now have Tom Brady overseeing it, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, and the very competent Geno Smith. Would you be shocked if the Raiders split every series in the division? I would not. And Bo Nix, year 2 with Sean Payton. He made the playoffs as a rookie. I mean, and they got money now. Kansas City doesn't have the money to go buy Hufanga and Greenlaw. Denver does. So and I'll give Kansas City all the credit in the world. But last year, 5 of their wins in division, all of them one-possession games. Denver's going to be noticeably better. The Raiders are going to be significantly better. And Jim Harbaugh's career, year 2, everywhere he's ever been. Year 1, he changes the culture. Year 2, he changes the personnel. He needs 2 years of drafting, 2 years of free agency. I just saw somebody the other day pick the Chargers to win Super Bowl. I don't know if they will, but they'll be noticeably better than last year when they just had too many weak spots on the O-line, at wide receiver, at tight end. They've solved a lot of those riddles. So, here's the thing about dynasties is that, and I've said this about Mahomes, Mahomes only makes about 3 plays a game. Same with Michael Jordan. That's jaw-dropping. Michael was the best mid-range player ever. And Mahomes is unbelievable on layups. Never misses them. Doesn't miss layups. That's 90% of the sport. Michael never missed the open 16-footer when he had to hit it. And once or twice a game, he'd stick his tongue out, switch hands in midair, and you'd go, I've never seen that before. But if you'd been trailing by 9 points at that moment against the Lakers, would it have mattered? Right? So, I mean, it's a prime example is that nobody hit Clayton Kershaw or Sandy Koufax in their prime. The great hitters hit the number 3 starter, dominate the middle relievers, and beat average closers. I mean, go to the World Series last year, Yankees and Dodgers. The Dodgers ate the Yankee pitching alive. Not Garrett Cole. They couldn't hit Garrett Cole. The only time the Yankees looked like they were the Dodgers' equal were the 2 starts that Garrett Cole had. 2 starts, 1 earned run total against the best team in baseball, the Dodgers. Nobody hits Garrett Cole when he's on. Nobody hits Garrett Cole. And Nick Saban just never lost games he should have won. He could lose to Johnny Manziel. He could lose that one game to Auburn, the special teams blunder. But so much of dynasties is just taking care of the home games, taking care of business. When Big Ben was in his prime and the Steelers were getting the Super Bowls, they owned Cleveland and they owned Cincinnati. They didn't own Baltimore. They lost to Baltimore all the time. And they weren't losing to the crappy Bengals pre-Burrow. And they weren't losing to the Browns very much. So that's part of it.
Well, Live Golf is redefining how golf is experienced and enjoyed, supercharging the sport across the globe with innovations and team competition. A really electrifying event and an atmosphere that welcomes fans from all backgrounds. It's the F1 of golf, a truly unique event. Stars come out for a celebration of sport, entertainment, and culture played in some of the world's most iconic venues. So in addition to world-class golf, you get a festival off the course, incredible food, live music, and a fan village packed with games and challenges for young and old. It's all on the line when Live Golf comes to Chicago's Bolingbrook Golf Club. I'll be there August 8th through the 10th. Players will be fighting for places at both ends of the individual standings, while the U.S. players have another chance to push for Ryder Cup selections. That's big, too. So it's a chance to see 54 of the game's best players at Bolingbrook Golf Club. Of course, that's open to the public. I'll be there. This marks another major step forward in Live Golf's commitment to build a more inclusive, accessible game of golf. It's a can't-miss experience. Grab your tickets at livegolf.com. That's LIV golf.com. Or if you can't make it this time, you can follow every shot live and exclusively on Fox Sports.
I don't think the Dallas Cowboys is the easiest job. I do not think it's the toughest job. So there were 7 new coaches, and by and large, you take over a team that's either rudderless, it's not working. Very rarely do you get a Matt LaFleur where you get Aaron Rodgers in his prime. That's the best job opening in probably 20 years, is that the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Aaron and Mike McCarthy had a falling out, but that's a great job. Stability everywhere, no chaos. Aaron was great. Roster was good. But there were 7 job openings this year. One of them, New England, is the easiest lift. You're not replacing Belichick. You have one of the smarter, more powerful owners. You have great game day revenue. They got plenty of money. Again, Drake May, I think, is going to work and even worked last year without any help. And you got the Dolphins and the Jets, both kind of dysfunctional in your division. That's the easiest job. Now, I do think there are some that are like, I think the Raiders is a big lift. I got Harbaugh, Herbert, Bo Nix, Peyton, Andy Reid, Mahomes, and the great Kansas City Chiefs in division. You could get it right in that division for several years and finish 4th. I think the Raiders is a tough lift. I think the Bears, historically, very weak ownership, old, weak ownership, too many kids involved, a lot of pressure, loud market, tough media, quarterback Ben Johnson. You don't know if Caleb can play. I mean, we don't know yet. I think he's talented, but we don't know. I also think the Jets, ownership, meh, GM, who knows? It's another guy. It's a turnstile. I think the Jets is a hard lift. The culture there is just not great. A lot of impulsive moves, and there's a lot of too many cooks in the kitchen. But the Dallas Cowboys, Brian Schottenheimer, it's not an easy lift. You have a meddling owner, and Micah's got a holdout. And the Micah holdout thing, it's substantial. He's arguably, I don't think he's as gifted as CeeDee Lamb, but he's really, really good. And here is Brian Schottenheimer, Schotty, talking about the Micah Parsons issue.
We're still planning on moving Mike around and putting him in all the spots that we see him and using our fronts the way we want to see it. And No, we just, we go about our business every day. We live in the moment. We focus in the moment. And again, like I said, I talked to you guys the other day. I'm not going to get a lot into it, but, I expect Micah to be here.
But I think one of the reasons this is an easier job than some of the other jobs is Dak Prescott. Dak is the Honda Civic of this league. You never have to worry about getting to work. It will not break down, right? Like, his floor is very high. I think you'd be surprised how many games Dak has won when he's healthy. I think it's second. If I may be wrong, since he got drafted, I think it's second to the Eagles in the NFC. He has an incredibly high floor. You don't have to worry about silliness. He's an excellent leader, high IQ, EQ. This is really the value of Dak Prescott. This has always been the value to me. I don't think he's great from the pocket. But Dallas is a loud market with an aggressive media. Talk radio remains very big in Dallas. Newspaper columnists have influence at the Dallas Morning News. It's still one of the only markets where sports guys get more than 45 seconds. It matters. It's a loud, aggressive sports market, and Dak fundamentally is a complete grown-up. And so that's the one thing. Jerry's going to meddle. Jerry lost his fastball. Micah, Trayvon Diggs are upset. George Pickens, watch out. But this has always been Dak's value. Can you imagine if you had a less serious quarterback than Dak Prescott, what a mess this would be? I've always said this. Dak's talent, I think, is very middle of the pack. The IQ, EQ stuff, top 3 or 4 in the league. Until Jalen Hurts arrived, I thought he was the best guy I'd ever seen at the podium.